Hey guys, welcome back to Jared's Rants and Reviews, and today we're talking about a video game that I completed recently called The Last of Us Part 2. And before I start talking about Part 2, let's kind of rewind back to Part 1. The original Last of Us was way ahead of its time. It was an incredible game. Not just in the way that it played, but in its ability to tell a story. What Naughty Dog created way back when the PS3 was, still big on the scene, was an incredible story-driven horror survival game. And it was so powerful in the story that it was telling. The characters that were in this game, you just were so attached to. It was, my experience with this, I didn't play it in the PS3 era. I actually got a chance to play it in the PS4 era. And I played The Last of Us Remastered. And from what I've been able to gather, it looked superb back on the PS3. And it actually is one of the best looking games for the PS4. And that says an awful lot. It's really good. I mean, you're talking about a PS3 game on the PS4 that outshines a lot of what the PS4 games have these days. And it was fantastic. It was so good. The story is about Joel. It's really Joel's story. And it's about him meeting Ellie. Ellie is this young girl who he's supposed to take to meet this faction called the Fireflies. She apparently has got she's immune to the to the disease that is going on. We're going back a little bit. I'm sorry, I got way ahead of myself. This is in fact a zombie game. Before you get it, we get too much further. It's a zombie game. There's a zombie outbreak, and the world is collapsing, and it has collapsed, and humanity is looking for hope. And this hope lies within this girl, who we come to find out very early in the game that she is immune to the bites of these zombies. So they're hoping to get her to this faction called the Fireflies, and they're going to create a cure. And that's basically it right there. And this story, it's one of the most powerful video game stories I have ever had the privilege of playing. And I don't say that lightly. It is one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had playing a game. You get so attached to Ellie and Joel, and by the end of the game, it's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. I can't say enough awesome things about the original Last of Us. But I'm not going to keep on talking about that one. That one's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about its predecessor, its recent incarnation, The Last of Us Part 2 for the PS4. Now, this is a game that was developed for the PS4, so it naturally looks better. And it does. It looks considerably better than the original game, which the original game looked great to begin with, so that's saying a lot. This is one of the best looking PS4 games I have seen, and it's so awesome. Yet again, we have an incredible story with Ellie and Joel, and it's just so compelling. All of this writing, all the writing in parts 1 and 2 combine to create some of the most compelling stories in video game history. And I don't say that lightly. I've played a lot of games, and very few games have tugged at my heartstrings the way that these two games have. And part 2 is no slouch in that department either. I can count on my fingers several times where I teared up or flat out cried in this game. I have a love of these characters, Joel and Ellie. Even some new characters have really just kind of dug their way into my psyche, and I love it. the game, upon with its improved graphics, they have also improved upon its combat. The combat in the game is a little bit less linear. They give you more choices. Instead of having to sneak around, you don't have to go that route if you don't want to. It gives you the option to go right out front and try and kick some ass that way. Won't always work out for you that way, but hey, at least they give you the option to do so. Yeah, it's very, very versatile when it comes to the actual gameplay. And it looks fantastic doing it. And it's some of the most brutal gameplay I have ever seen in a video game. I mean, it puts Mortal Kombat to shame. It's hard to watch sometimes. But again, this isn't a game for kids. This is a game for serious adult players. People who can handle a bleak and dark storyline like this. It's rough stuff. I'm not gonna lie. This is probably some of the most emotional storytelling I've ever dealt with. Yeah, man, this game it comes at you not just with the action-packed moments, but it comes at you with the scares, and it hits you hard. I cannot tell you how many times I jumped out of my seat because I had a zombie come out of nowhere, a clicker or whatever, come out of nowhere and scare the bejesus out of me.
Sorry, baby, that scared the absolute shit out of me.
Oh man, very rare do I get that involved in a game and I just jump out of my skin. Now, as far as the upgrading and all that goes, that's pretty much all the same. The upgrading of your weapons and your gear, your upgrading of the melee weapons, all that has pretty much been taken over from the original game and brought into this one. Your personal upgrades that upgrade your abilities to stealthily hunt and all that has been brought over. None of that has changed, but the combat itself essentially has been broadened. You have more at your disposal to get the job done, which is awesome, and I think that's a great way to go. Make it more open for more players. You know, give everyone who plays differently, different styles of play, basically is allowed to run rampant here. And that's great. That's great. And they need to do that more often. You know, the one thing that's been bothering me, though, is they had this one level earlier on, like I think day 1 or day 2 of being in Seattle. They had this one moment where you're on horseback, and it seems to be in kind of an open sandbox type area where you could ride around the city and explore different places. They had that in that one level at the beginning, and you never see it again for the rest of the game. And I actually enjoyed that. I don't know why they only had it at the beginning. Why couldn't they have brought that back once, twice or 3 more times? I love that. In fact, if they ever do get around to doing part 3, I would love to see that come back in a bigger, more meaningful way. But yeah, I mean, overall, I have nothing to complain about the gameplay. But yeah, this game was phenomenal. I had a great time. Now, there is a lot of controversy surrounding this game, and I'll tell you why there's a lot of controversy surrounding this game. It's not for the content, the violence, the sexuality that's on display in certain parts of this game. It has nothing to do with any of that. What it does divide fans on is the story. As good as that story is, it does something that the original game or anybody I'm trying to find the words here. The story does something that you don't expect and subverts expectations. I understand why they did this. I do. All right, before I continue, I'm going to tell you what happens. This is no spoiler warning or anything like that. This isn't a spoiler. About halfway through the game, it switches gears. You stop playing Ellie or Joel, and you play with a new character named Abby. Now, Abby is a fantastic character. She is she's awesome. She's really, really cool. A lot of people didn't like her, but it's really hard to talk about this without spoiling something. But in essence, you're getting a mirror image of Joel and Ellie with Abby. All right? And when you play it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But Abby's a great character. And she goes through a learning curve, just like the other characters, Joel and Ellie did. And by the end of the game, Abby, has dug herself into your psyche as well. And you are emotionally attached to that character. And I get why the writers and the director of this game decided to go that route. I get it. They didn't want to rehash the same old thing. They wanted something new. And I have a feeling that this game is just a prelude to part 3. I feel in my heart of hearts that this game is a lead up to a grand finale in a part 3 of The Last of Us. And I kind of see... I see where this is going, and I see the necessity to do dual characters. But I also see the other side of the argument as well. Me being a supermassive mega fan of this franchise, I can honestly say it's hard for me to accept playing through half a game with a totally new character who isn't the people that we grew up with, who isn't the people that we're attached to begin with, Ellie and Joel. It's really hard to do that to a fan. You know what I mean? You guys rip those characters away from us only to put us in with this new character. Now, I'm open-minded enough to go through the rest of the story with this character, but that's not why I came to this game to begin with. I was looking forward to spending more time with Joel and Ellie, and unfortunately, that's not what I got. So, is The Last of Us Part 2 better than the original Last of Us? I'm going to have to say no. No, it's not. This game was fantastic. It was incredible. And they did everything just fine. But the fact that I don't get to spend the rest of the game with my favorite characters knocks a few points off of it. The original was a masterpiece. This one was so close to masterpiece proportions, and it fell short. But was I disappointed in the game enough to never want to revisit it again? Absolutely not. And in fact, I'm eager to jump back into it one more time just to kind of see the things that I missed the first go around. But yeah, Last of Us Part 2, if you haven't played it, you need to get out there and play this game. It will change you by the end of it all. Play the first one, obviously, get to know the characters, and then finish it up with Part 2. But yeah, this game will change you by the end of it all. You will have a different outlook on certain things in life. And yeah, I definitely do. I really feel like this game has changed me for the better. So, honestly, Naughty Dog, my hat's off to you again. I think you guys did a fantastic job, and I'm eager to see what you guys do in the future. Yeah, so, if you have a PS4, it's only on the PS4. Go play it. Love it. Anyways, yeah, see me on Twitch this Friday, and I will be seeing you guys again on my next rant and review for sure. I've got several movies on the way, several movie reviews coming, as well as hopefully in the near future, Ghost of Tsushima. Again, guys, I'm having fun with all the recommendations you're sending out to me. I've already got a new set of recommendations, so if you guys would, keep those recommendations coming, and I will definitely get around to them as soon as I can. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support. Give me that thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you guys on the next rant and review.